So people go like, cool, yeah, great exercise, and then they do the leg lowers and the crunches and things like that. It's such a subtle movement. You really feel that activation, and you feel the difference when it's protecting your back and when it's not. So it's pretty hard angle. You know, your body's not designed to be lying down and throwing your legs out. Pretty hard angle to keep engaged and protected, but it's a good place to practice and learn. How about now? Are you feeling that waistband muscle?
I feel it in there now.
Yeah. Good. You try to get it to a point where it's a little bit sore, and then it's easy when you're standing to go, oh yeah, there it is.
Yep.
So while you're all in that position, just put both legs flat out on the floor, extend it out, and then hug one knee and pull it to your chest. Now, do you feel, really hug, do you feel the other hip a little bit tight and pulling your knee up off the floor?
No.
What's wrong with you, Mrs.
Yeah, no,
Warren?
I don't have any abductors. None.
Hip flexor, yeah. And you feel a little bit of tightness there, Danny?
Just tough.
A little bit on top?
Oh, yeah.
There at all?
Not really there.
Just bring it back a little bit so your legs nice and relaxed. And now bring it up and see if you're lifting this knee off the floor. Starts to come up a little bit. Alright. Cool, hop on up. Or you can stay right there if you like. So what happens, you can practice all that, you breathe into your chest and you rock your hips back, and that's great. But then if you're tight in that hip, so we do that test because it's hard, you don't really have a reference point, or as you bring this knee up, this leg, well you see on this side, if I bring this leg right up, it rocks my hip back, so then it makes a difference to the other leg. So if I bring this leg right up, and I'm tight there, if I'm walking, right, breathe into the chest, exhale, hips rock back. But as soon as I take this step and this hip is tight, then it pulls my pelvis forward. And so when you spend your whole day sitting or raft guiding, hanging out from this leg, with this muscle jammed up tight, hanging out there steering, you can get through that all right. You can get on a bike, you can work away, you can go kayaking, but something as simple as walking, when you go to stand up, and these tight muscles are pulling your pelvis forward, and then the muscles from halfway down your thigh join into the middle of your lower back, and so when that tightness kicks in, it's pulling your back forward, and so to stand upright, you have to start using the muscles above where they join. And so you've got those two fighting against each other. Yeah, so the psoas muscles come right up into the inside here and join your spine. So, I had knots for years because I was bending through here. Instead of standing upright and pivoting from your hip, which is the only difference between us and monkeys, is the fact we have a glute muscle to hold us at 180 degrees through there, and monkeys don't. So, without doing that bit right, you overcompensate and put all that pressure through your back just to stand upright all day, and then that muscle has to hang on, it gets tight, it creates a knot so that it can hang on tight without using as much energy, and that is a huge factor to a lot of back issues.
I didn't know that's why knots occurred, actually.
Kind of just made that up, but it sounds
But
good.
it don't make sense, though.
Yeah, so a lot of people get knots in there,
Yeah, I do.
and then
Lots of knots
working
between my
kind
shoulder
of
blades, yeah.
relaxed, and then a lot of people get that sort of aching in there, and then you use the muscle once and it freaks out a little bit and goes into a knot. So with the bench, see how you go on this one, Danny. You can let this leg hang a little bit more and then take the knee, and so it starts to lift up. If you bend the knee and it comes up, your quad's tight because you're extending through the knee or bending more through the knee, getting longer. But if you pull the knee up and bend the knee, it doesn't make any difference. It's all the tightness in your hip. So you can see as I lift this knee up, this foot comes forward. So now my pelvis is flat and my knee is about 180 degrees. So if I'm walking and I can't get my knee past horizontal, then every step I take where my knee goes behind me, I'm yanking on my pelvis forward. So like I said, it's another skill to try and have some sort of activation, like when you walk, you're not going to go but you just try to keep that breath and some level of activation even when you're breathing in, so that you try and hold the hips back. And now I can, every step I take, this hip's particularly tight, every step I take, I can feel this start to stretch and lengthen. So instead of going for a jog or running and paying no attention to it, I use more energy just walking and really trying to hold that focus and form and walk. So it kills me when I see people go like, right, I'm going to get fit, and then start like jogging.
Tell me off.
Better off like walk and even get yourself up to a point where you can do a short sprint and then walk. And that's the essence of HIIT training, burst and recover, rather than jogging where you get tired and everything's relaxed and slog it away. You sprint where you're going to keep your body all upright, and then you walk to recover and try and maintain that posture. So try that, Danny. You're just going to sit you on the edge here.
This could be bad.
I'm really intrigued how this is going to go, honey.
Not very well.
And even people that are really quite flexible, often
Do you want his butt on there or just off?
just on the hips, yeah. You
Like that.
might even struggle just getting down with your back like that. So even people with quite flexible, that like do all the bending, a lot of them are just bending through their back without much issue, but the only place that they're tight is in that hip. So go ahead and grab your knee. And see that one lifts right up. Try and keep your knee, or no, hold that right knee, and then pull this foot back.
Do you feel that in the quad?
See it lifting up a little bit, so tighten the quad, tighten the hip, and then extend this leg out. Drop slightly, but yeah, tightness in the quad and hip. Try the other leg.
Heard that. Chuck your foot in again. How's that feel in your quad?
Pretty tight.
Good. So there's something you can work on.
Yep.
Bit of length in the quads, and it takes that constant tension out of your back. Do you need help getting up? Thank you. Good.
Need one of them things.
Bench, yeah. It's hard, like people have a bed at home, but it's all
Yeah.
soft and squishy on the edge. So it's hard to find that sort of thing. But I'll show you a good stretch you can do. Online's in a couple of places. But to stretch that, you can do it kneeling. So this way your legs bent, and this is the same thing. When people try and flex the quad, they just lunge forward and go like, oh yeah, I don't feel it. In yoga, when you lift your arms up, at least you're extending through here to try and connect that stretch. But this is another, so this is the third position where it says core activation, where you're standing on all fours and prone. This is another one which is really great for practicing activating the core. We want to roll the pelvis back, so breathing into the chest.
Really
Squeeze
felt
it
that
out.
down there.
Oh, it
Yeah.
hurts, doesn't it?
It's been a while.
Down the front.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so you maintain the position, and instead of just trying to push further and getting out, you maintain the position but breathe in your chest and exhale and really try and tilt that pelvis back.
Feeling it in my hip flexor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And down my quad. That's
um,
amazing, just that tiny little movement. And you can feel all of that
So
engage
I
and
used to
go,
think that I had to get into this position.
Yeah.
Not at all. Like
And
when
so-
you showed me this, I was like, oh, okay.
so the same thing when you're walking. When you do this, you're bending all through the back, just like when you walk without it. Whereas when you're kneeling, you exhale, and when you walk, and try and get that length through the hip rather than through your back. So that's a great way to start stretching that one out.
it actually feels really good on this side because my hip's been really out of alignment since I started learning to walk again. And so it actually feels really good in there to do this stretch and to tuck it in.
Yeah, you make that a really good point. When you have an injury like your ankle, you start guarding on one side. I'm kind of lost as to what the cause was, because it was after a few years like this, I didn't know anything of the issues until I had the back pain.
Yeah.
And even then I kind of ignored that until I blew my knee out, and a shiatsu guy said, oh, it's due to your back pain or your back tightness. So righto, and I did the knee rehab. Started learning about this core stuff, and finally I found a physio that had me lie down and do that little extension. And then sort of got on top of all that. And then I took a break from skiing and developed bursitis in my shoulder from rafting. And then only now, after being in the gym for years trying to figure all that stuff out, now I notice how tight and messed up my left hip is. And then even when I'm walking, I got the bunion on the left foot. So I'm pretty sure this is tight from hanging out of the raft for all those years, way before I did anything else. But then I had the knee, it was walking funny to protect the knee, and I've also got the bunion, so my whole knee's out of alignment.
So focusing when you walk, really put that effort in.
Yeah, I've tried all these toe spreaders and things. I make sure if I'm not paying attention to it, there's another great point. When you're standing there and you notice that you get flat feet. So in a moment we'll do some training, some exercises where you're really aware of it, spread the toes out, create that arch and work on that alignment. But sometimes like walking or standing is the worst thing because you're not aware of that and you get back to old habits. So I think that's a great time to wear orthotics so that you hold your feet up, and especially when you do all the exercises in the morning, then you're now fatigued. And so when you go stand in the kitchen for long hours or anything, standing or walking, that's when all the pain starts to set in, even though you did all those wonderful exercises that should be helping in the morning, but they've now fatigued you and you go back to old habits. So that's a good time to wear orthotics until you start doing the training more and more and more and you cover it. So it is a bit of a band-aid solution. It's like wearing a cast on your feet.
Yeah.
But for the short term, after exercise, when you're tired and not paying attention,
Teaches you where to hold it.
they're a good thing. Yeah. So
How's that feel? Yeah, feeling it?
even if you don't want to get down on the floor, or you can't get down on the floor, or if you're just feeling a little bit lazy, a chair with the back is really good, or this bench is a little bit high, but you can do the same thing on any old chair. It's feeling it at work, you just spin your chair around, put one knee on it, and you can do that without getting rolled down on the floor and fully committing. It's a nice way to loosen it up. So, in that position, let's get back there. Let's look at the other part of the picture. We want to rock the hips back, keep that core active. Now, when people go core, it's because they used to think that to help your back out was all about crunches and your abdominal wall, but then they discovered a deep muscle inside and they called it core. But now the fitness industry starts calling everything the core. Core, crunches, core exercise, whatever. So if you're going to include all this in the core, you better include your glutes because they play a much bigger role in the terms of back health than your six-pack does. So when you rock the hip back, you feel that core tighten. You can also put your hand on there and see if you can feel your glute engage. You can do it sort of without the glute engaging, or you can really try and squeeze it and get it to engage.
Keep trying not to sway out because
Yeah.
it doesn't want to go. It wants to go that way because it's easier.
Yeah, no, it's good like that. Yeah. Again, it's the minor details. Instead of just going like this, you're going like.
I've got no glutes anymore, honey. I used to have amazing glutes when I did roller derby. I missed them.
I've lost mine.
I used to watch.
Instead of going like this and just going like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, counting to 30 as really fast as you can, like you do in high school, or doing this one 1, 2, 3, 4, instead of actually extending through the hip. Yeah, like you say, you just practice a few breaths and you can play around with the angle of your hip to really loosen it up.
I feel it more on this side, my glutes are maybe, than what I did on this side.
It should be on your right side.
So it's interesting.
Because
Isn't it?